Hello, everyone. I'm Pat, the Philly for our normal interviewer, Kelly Blanchard. Today we have with us Mike Taylor. He's a major part in the community that we've been kind of building up, and well, he's the head of it. You know, if there was anything to do with bringing people together in this creator community, it'd be him. And so I'm super happy to bring him on and interview him. So how are you doing, Mike?
Doing great, man. I really appreciate you taking the time having me on the show.
Oh yeah, we
It's,
we
it's an honor and a blessing.
yep, we're very happy to have you here. It's been kind of in the works for a while, and I'm happy that we finally are getting to it.
Yeah,
Um,
great.
so the first question I have for you is kind of how long have you been into tabletop RPGs? Like, how long has it been since you've been in this world of ours?
Uh, I want to say probably in the elementary school phase. My dad was a huge geek. So like games and everything like that was his thing, and he was the one that we always played. We played a lot of board games growing up. Especially growing up in the '80s, like we didn't have 100 channels at our disposal, and so we did a lot of board games. And when Hero Quest actually came out in the '80s, he had gotten it for me, and that pretty much where it got me hooked. Like I still play it now. I'm so glad that they brought it back to like they made like a newer version, and I bought it, and now my kids play it and they love it as well. So that's just it's a huge thing for me, and because now I get to it was me and my brother and my dad would always play on the weekends, and we lived out of town and outside city limits and stuff. So there'd be days there'd be nothing going on, so we would just we would play that, or if it's raining or whatnot. And it was just a thing that I started and kind of grew, and I would make my own adventures and everything from me and my brother to play, and that was just something that it kind of just always stuck with me. I would write everything else. So it was just something that we had, because you didn't have much money, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot of things, and so you would just kind of expand on that. And it just brings back a lot of good memories for me. And tabletop RPGs is just something that's it's always there, and it's never
Mm-hmm.
going to go away. So but it's just a big part of my life, and I've been doing it since I was probably in elementary, fourth, fifth grade, and still doing it now.
Wow, that's an extremely long time. I mean, since the 80s. I mean, you've been along this trip probably for sure much longer than I have. I was I started when I was probably 12. So, but that's incredible. It's awesome to hear that, it's a kind of like a family thing that brought you into it. That's kind of what tabletop RPGs are about. Um, so going on to it, I think we've covered kind of the next question, which was how you got into it, which is awesome. You kind of brought into the when I first met you, you showed me kind of what your kind of things are, and I got to read through some amazing modules that you've created. You want to talk a little bit about that? Like, how'd that come about?
Uh, actually I started out kind of just being a DM for my nephews and my three daughters, and I was just kind of just winging it. Uh, I had gone. I hadn't really played games in probably quite a while, many years. It was a huge gap, and as I was getting ready to kind of retire, I was in the military, and I was getting ready to retire. COVID happened as
Oh.
well, so probably about a year or two before COVID happened, I started getting back into it,
Mm-hmm.
and I started listening to a couple podcasts, and I found out that that was a thing. So I started listening to that, and so that kind of got the spark going. And as I was playing, solo and just learning about it again, my kids started getting involved. They wanted to start playing games and stuff, and they're really big into fantasy. and especially like my two younger ones, they're like really into
Mm-hmm.
like just make believe and stuff like that. So I started telling
It's
them more,
amazing
and
to hear.
yeah, and then my oldest daughter, you know, she's she was really good into it. You know, as she's like, you know, she reads a lot of books and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So all three girls were in it, and we played it during COVID, and we just started that, and it was like a long campaign, just once or twice a month, and reaching over for like 2 years. And finally, when I retired and moved, we got into our house. We actually moved a couple miles from my sister, so my nephews were down the road, and so then we got became a habit about 2 years that every Sunday, the boys would come over. So I had three boys and three girls,
Oh.
and I would yeah, and
Oh.
they would range from like 7 years old to 18 years old, and so I had to like it was a huge range going on there, and I just started playing. I started kind of just winging it and homebrewing it, and I would read more stuff, and I kind of throw stuff at them and see what worked and what didn't work. And finally, as I was doing this, I was started like making it more organized
Mm-hmm.
and writing more stuff down. And I was showing people like, oh man, like this is what I would do, or this. They're like, after a while, I had documents,
Yeah, like a
files, and
big pile of
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And they're just like, how come you don't write? How come you don't like write this stuff out? Like, how come you don't make modules and sell them? I was like, I didn't ever think of that. I don't think I'm that good. And they're like, no, it's great. Like, you should definitely check them out. So then I was like, okay. So then I made a couple and kind of put them together, and I would put them together like I would use them myself,
Mm-hmm.
and which is like completely backwards. Like the first page is like the boss, like like
I
this is
mean,
this is what's
yeah,
going to be wrapped around,
I
So that's that.
agree. Start from the boss, and then find out how you get there. That's how
Yeah,
I do it. Yep.
and I was and like I wrote for many years like short stories and like
Mm-hmm.
little things that on my time, and I would always start with like the character or the villain or the monster, and that's how I would start. So I would
Mm-hmm.
write all of my stuff that way, and um, so that's how I wrote my module. So the first thing is like the big bad, he's there, and that's what everybody's like. That's the concept, and that's everything's wrapped around it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a new take, and some people liked it, some people didn't. But I started putting it on like DM Guild, and that's where a lot of people go. And I didn't really know too much about it, so I kind of got trapped into that DM Guild where you can't really take it out.
Yeah.
uh, so I didn't know that until a lot of people were like, "Hey, man, did you know?" I was like, "No, I did not know." So that was a learning experience right there. Um, but as that kind of evolved, I kind of started making my own label. Before that, I had like as of right now, I still do. I own or a CEO of a marketing agency that I created
Oh wow.
myself.
So you do a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I can be here all day and tell you all the things that I do.
Well, that's kind of the
But
point, right?
yeah. So I had the marketing agency going, and I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'll start a gaming label, just a small one, just so I can
Mm-hmm.
produce it, and I can put, I can have a title and just be like, Chaotic Chronicles is, putting this module out, and it makes me seem a whole lot more
Mm-hmm.
important than what I am. And
It's what it is. Fake it till you make it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's it. And I tell you what, it took off a lot faster than what I thought because I faked it, and then all of a sudden people were like, "Hey man, I want to join you," or "Hey man,
Yo.
I'm gonna do this for you," and I was like, "Oh crap! Like this is not what I planned on
Oh
and was
yeah.
trying on for." So I did, and all of a sudden, so then I had like, within 6-8 months, I had made 4 modules, and I put them out on DM Guild,
Mm-hmm.
and people were seeing them, and they're like, "Oh man, hey, this is really cool. Like this is really great." Um, and then as I did, I started kind of redoing them, and I had a friend jump on, my friend Dan, and he was helping me with some of the graphics and layouts because I wasn't really good on that. I'm more of a writer and a creator and like an organizer and world builder,
I
but
feel
like
that.
yeah, like graphics and images, like I'm not very good at it. I
Hmm.
do a lot of my sketch work. If you look at the old stuff, it's all like sketchy and really
Yeah.
like
It's
just
kind
like old
of
school dirty.
it's all like AD&D level stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
But,
And but the content was good, so the
mhm.
images didn't have to be that well.
And I agree with that. I for one, have actually played some of his stuff and run it, and I gotta say, it's well written and it's fun. I mean, all of you guys, you should go check it out. We'll put the link down in the description. They're amazing. Better than a lot of the main WotC modules, to be honest.
I appreciate it, man, and that definitely it's great to hear because I was like, oh, it took me forever to press that button to publish. It was on the website for probably a month on my first one, and I was just like, oh, I can't do this. And finally,
Yeah.
one day I was just like, I got pissed, and I pressed publish and I walked away, and I didn't even
boom.
I didn't even
No going back. No going back.
yeah, and I had to just walk away because I was scared, I was terrified.
Oh yeah,
And
it's a big jump. It's a big jump.
yeah,
Putting yourself
yeah,
out there on such a vast, universe the internet is. So
I did, and I was overwhelmed because, like, especially DM Guild and
Mhm.
just Wizards of the Coast and Kobo Press, they all have these amazing things, and I'm like, there's no way this guy can do anything like that.
Yeah.
And I was more of like set like a business mind frame, and I was like, I can't do this gaming thing. Like, there's no way. And as I did it, I started building up a little bit more momentum and started doing them. And I had my friend Dan was like, hey, just as I started making them, he started helping me a little bit more on some stuff. And then finally, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna make a label. That's it. Like, I'm gonna put it out, and I'm gonna start doing it. And he was like, I was like, hey, you wanna help me with this? You wanna be a part of it? He's like, yeah, He's like, I would love to be a part of it. And he's like, all I want is to see my name in a book. He's like, that's all I want is put my name in a book and put it on the shelf, and that'd be a dream come true. And I was like, shit, me too. Like, that's exactly
common goal.
What I want. Yeah. And so we started that, and in that time frame, I told him, I was like, hey man, this really sucks for us. Like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't have like any type of, like, I guess, friends in the industry. We don't have a lot of things. And so I was like, man, how about I just make a group? And we had like a Facebook group, but not a lot of people are on Facebook. Not everybody, follows a group or anything like that.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know that one.
so I was just like, man, I'm gonna do a Discord. I'm gonna try Discord, see what happens. And I came up with, hey man, I'm gonna make this group, Dungeon Scribe Society, and it's gonna be for creators only. And it's not like for fans or anything. It's more creators, mastermind group, and we're gonna help each other. We're gonna network.
It's an amazing place. It's an amazing place. I have met so many amazing people who have helped me out, like so many. A lot of what we've got going with our channel is thanks to Dungeon Scribe. So if you're a content creator, reach out, see if you'll be a good fit.
Yeah, it's great. And I'd say a lot of good things did come, have come and continue to come from it. And I have met, like, my network was very large in the business aspect of my world, but like, I had in the gaming world, like, I didn't really have anything. I was just more of a fan. Like, I would sit and watch the YouTube videos, or I would watch the actual plays, or read up on it, or things like that. But I was like, a spectator. And as I started doing it more, I was like, yeah, I own Dungeon, I own Chronicles. This is what I do. I make these modules. I was like, I'm not very good. I'm kind of beginning, but I do know how to organize and do all these other things from, like, my other stuff that I do. And people were like, great, that's awesome. We can show you, and we want to be a part of this. And we started off with 25 people, and we're like, hey, we're only going to do 25 because it's a small group. And then all of a sudden, it went from 25 to 75 to, we had at one time 200 and something members. And then it just kind of flattened out, and it kind of filtered out to a lot of the stagnant, people that join and everything. And now it's like a strong, active, over 100, members that go from everywhere from, TTRPG, module creators, not just D&D, but Pathfinder and Call of Cthulhu. And, there's a lot of independent. We have a couple creators that are making their own system. So then we have other people helping them. My partner on my podcast, Rob, he's making Dark Noir, so that's a huge one as well, and that's a crazy game. You guys should definitely check that out. And so me and him are bouncing ideas off of each other and creating stuff. And Dungeon Scribe is actually helping out other people, and
Yeah.
and then we're doing like cross promotion where like most people don't do that because they're a lot of people are scared or selfish. They don't want to. They're kind of
And I
stuck
mean,
behind their walls.
that's a win-win. I don't,
Yeah,
who's losing in that situation, right?
exactly. And I would tell people like, hey, I'm starting this group. I'm starting this
Hmm.
community. I want you guys to be. And people are like, it's a scam. I'm like, wait a minute. It
Well,
was
yeah.
horrible. Like in the very beginning, I was very discouraged because people were like calling me like, you're a scam artist. I'm like, wait, I don't
It's
want your money.
the world we
I just
live
want.
in, right? The world we live in.
Yeah, and then so now I can kind of look back. I don't say anything, but I just nod, be like, yeah, look like a scam now, don't I?
Yeah, it was much bigger. Too bad. You could have been in this.
So yeah, so it helped out a lot, and since then my Chaotic Chronicles has been fully legit blown
Hmm.
out, and now we have there's a total of 5 of us now, myself and 4 guys underneath me, and they all are crazy, just crazy good at everything they do. Um, what I tell people is like kind of tell them what we do, and like we have writers, we have the photographers, and we have all these different skills. One thing that I tell people that we have on the team, we have a bard, we have a published poet. Like he's actually a
Hmm.
poet, and like does all these things. I was like, yeah, we have a bard on our team, and they're just like, what? I'm like, yeah,
Natural bard, yeah.
yeah. And they're just like it blows them away. Like, what are you talking about? And so we have all these different
Hmm.
aspects, and I just found out one of my guys is an actual a voice actor, and he's like, hey, like I'm gonna start doing our commercials and stuff. I was like, I didn't even know this until right now. Why did you hold back?
What the heck, man?
Yeah, and I always learn something new from all of these guys. Like there's so
Mm.
much, and we just released our officially, with the label and everything now, the new like logo and
Yeah, check
label and
that out.
everything.
Link in description to Chaos Chronicles merch. They're
Yeah,
awesome. Made by the same company that does ours, TTRPG Swag.
yep,
Beautiful shirts, beautiful hats, just
yeah,
amazing
even the
quality.
hat.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you check that out. And while you're there, jump over to mine too.
Do it. Yeah,
But
it's like so we have these guys, and as we're creating all of this stuff,
mhm.
we made our one shot finally and got it done, and because we it was a new team and we're a new concept and trying to work with each other, and as it worked out, we kind of started ironing out all the kinks that we had, and now we're just like we're moving and getting everything done, and we published our first one shot, um, and so that's out now on our website, and we're about to cross it over to like the other drive through RPG and some other places, and then we're working on our big Kickstarter project. It's a, go- a scum among us. I can't, it has goblin on the cover. And I was
Yeah,
like, goblins.
goblins.
Scum among us, yeah. Scum among us. It's a guide to mischief and mayhem and murder, and they've been working on that for quite some time, and it's a huge project. They have play testers. We have
Mhm.
an official playtest team now, and they've been playtesting it, and so that's just a huge thing that we are good with, and a lot of that came from the Dungeon Scribe and networking out and
Yeah.
doing all these crazy things, and I was very happy with all of that, and so it kind of comes full circle, and we kind of help out other creators along with that, and they've been helping us out, so it's just something that's it's a huge blessing. Like I can't ask anymore.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is that blessing reaches out to so many people. You kicked off something that has probably helped the creator community massively. Like it's I've seen people go from on that server. I've seen people go from uh, unpublished to published thanks to the help of other authors. I've seen
Yeah,
people who wanted to start something on Patreon but had no idea, or Kickstarter had no idea how to do it and was just not working out. Thanks to the help of of the others who have been successful on there, become successful. I mean, even us, a lot of what's helping us grow and improve our quality is thanks to other YouTubers on Dungeon Scribe, and so it's just an amazing place, and it has helped so many. So I thank you for that.
well, hey, you're welcome, and thank you for just thinking I'm not a scammer. That's
Oh
that
yeah,
was,
yeah. I mean, some of my teammates did. They're like, "Hey man, I don't know," and I'm like, "No, I've looked into it. I read through his modules. He's legit, and I trust. I'm gonna put my faith in this." And I'm very happy I did. I'm very happy that I wasn't like the rest of the people who were like, "Oh nope, scam."
yeah, yeah, I
So,
appreciate it, man. Everybody else is listening. You heard that. A scam.
yeah, not a scam, not a scam. So if Mike Taylor gets messages you on one of your contents, you join. You join. It's an amazing thing. Don't miss out. I mean, it's you'll be losing out on a massive resource.
Yeah,
Um,
you have to meet a lot of people. That's for sure.
Speaking about meeting a lot of people, you're taking part in a documentary. Is that right? A Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons documentary. You want to tell us a
Yes.
bit about that, or at least what you can?
Uh, yeah, it's a 50-year anniversary. It's
Hmm.
called 50 Years of Fantasy, a 50-year anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. So pretty much from start to finish, and they have been working their butts off from the very beginning, and they have the Gygax family and everybody in
Oh
between.
wow,
Yeah, to like
it's
they
a
had
big thing.
gone. Yeah, so they had gone to like I think it was like London, and they started filming a bunch of content there and interviewing a bunch of people. Um, and they have there's so much content, and so many interviews, and they had actually reached out to me because I guess they heard some of the stuff that I was doing because this was about the time
Hmm.
that Dungeon Scribe was kicking off, and I was kind of like on the net a lot, kind of like just looking and talking to people and doing these things. And the guy Blake I don't want to screw up his name,
It's
but
yeah, yeah.
but and so, but Blake, he kind of like heard from from somebody, and I was actually in the same group that he was in, and we just talked very casually through things, and I was telling him what I was doing, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, hey, I'm doing a documentary." I was like, "That's amazing." I was like, I'd love to like, you know, talk to more about that, or maybe just have you like in our group or something. And finally, he was like, "Hey, do you want to help out? Do you want to, you know, it initially came, do you want to be interviewed for the documentary?" And I was like, "Hell yes, I do." And
Yeah.
then a little bit later, I was like, "Hey, I would like to kind of help out a little bit more." I was like, "I have a pretty big following and a reach in the community. I would like to try to help out with that." So they came back. He went to his board. Came back, was like, "Hey, we would like to make you an ambassador for the show or for the film, and one of the head influencers that kind of coordinates
Hmm.
other influencers and whatnot." And I was like, "Absolutely." So we signed up some paperwork, and I was able to go and share out some stuff and to get them a good amount of content with other creators helping this stuff, and sharing out on, especially on social media, is a huge thing, especially on TTRPG styles. So I was able to do that, and with all of that going on, we ran out of time, and I wasn't able to get interviewed for the film. I was doing we doing all the
All
stuff
this
on
other
the
stuff.
yeah, all this other stuff, and they were traveling and everything. And finally got to the end. He's like, "We can't do your interview," and I was like, "Damn."
Ooh,
All
so
right, I still get
sucks.
yeah. I was like, I still get my name in the credits though,
Yep.
So yeah, that's a huge thing, and it's for me, it's like it's 50 years of
Yeah.
just content crammed into probably a 2 hour, 2.5 hour film, and it's crazy. I've just seen some clips, and I've seen some interview type stuff, and
Hmm.
I've seen some of the images, and it's crazy. Like I was like, "There's man, like I can't believe like this is 50 years of content," and they're working like 16, 18 hours. I sent him a
Jeez.
message. I sent
Dedicated.
him, yeah, I sent him like, and it's not just him. He has a full
Hmm.
team. Like there's a full like,
Full
you
group of
know,
it. Yeah.
yeah. And I sent him a message like 2 days ago, and he just responded this morning. He's like, "Sorry, man, I just went on an 18-hour bender, and like I was just like crushing all of these interviews and trying to get them all
Hmm.
organized." He's like, "I'm about to probably go to bed or something." And I was like, "Dang, like don't like, I get it, like
Yeah.
cool."
Dedicated.
Yeah, so
Some respect.
I told him, I was like, "Hey, I'm coming on the show, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna
Hmm.
spit the documentary out, and we'll do that. And I have it on my LinkTree, which will be in the description.
Yep.
It's one of the first things that I have on my LinkTree. And so definitely, if everybody that's listening and watching, definitely check out, go to my LinkTree and check out the documentary. And there's different things you can do. You can actually donate money and you can get rewards for it. And you get like early access to it. There's different things that you guys can do. You can actually be a part of the film. If you donate some money, they'll put your name in the film as a donor, and it's all these different things to help out the film. And if you're part of the community, it's a huge deal for us. It's like I always think of it like it's a historical marker, because it's like 50 years, and this is where a lot of our fantasy and a lot of our games and everything that comes from is starting with this. So it's a huge thing. I'm really excited for it.
Bottom line, I mean, at least pay your respects by going to go check it out. It's kind of that, Dungeons and Dragons has pretty much gotten a lot of us through a lot of hard times. So, at least go check it out. Don't be,
For sure.
don't disrespect the Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean? But
it's a cornerstone.
It is super big, and it's inspired a lot of other fantasy things. So it's amazing that it's already been 50 years, Wow.
Yeah.
So there you mentioned something earlier about your podcast, and I'm kind of interested to hear a bit about that. So if you want to tell us about it, I think it's called Side Quest.
Yes. Yeah. Side Quest. We are the paladins of podcast,
I love that. Especially as a primary paladin player.
Yeah. So what it is actually, we'll start from kind of the beginning. My partner or co-host, or however you want to call it, we don't really say co-host, but when I tell people, they're like, "You're what?" I'm like, just all right, we're partners in the show or co-host. But he had started this show a couple years ago with his best friend. His best friend had passed away, and he had started with some other co-hosts that didn't work out after a while, and he kind of just put it to the side and didn't really work it. And so as it was kind of like on the shelf, he makes other content and modules himself. But as I saw it, I brought him in to the dungeon scribes and stuff. And so he did it, and out of nowhere, he was like, because all the people we were starting to gain a little bit more bigger in a group and members and whatnot. Yeah. And he was like, hey, like, does anybody want to maybe start a podcast? Or I have a podcast, I'm thinking about starting it. Does anybody think about they want maybe join or be a part of it? And I happened to be on. I was like, hey man, I've never done a podcast before. I can write that in my resume. That'd be cool. Yeah. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not like a people person per se. I was just like, this is cool. I haven't done that before. So I guess I might as well just check that box. And the show went from what it is now is completely opposite of what it was, and it's taking off. We kind of split our responsibilities and kind of work as a team, and we are doing a lot more than what he had done before. And the show before laid a good foundation, groundwork, and some followers, and it was good what he had done prior to, because it made our job easier now. What we're doing. Yeah. And the show covers pretty much anything from just the gaming industry, what's going on. We have guests from all over, not just Dungeons and Dragons. There's authors, there's creators, there's other podcast hosts, and right now I think we are booked for guests until the end of the year. I think wow. We have one slot left for December, and people are just coming on. We have if you guys don't know the podcast, Tale of the Manticore, my friend John, it's a very popular podcast, and he's actually coming on the show in like 2 weeks, and we're pretty excited because he finally has time. I have a couple other people I don't think I can say yet, but hopefully they're able to say yes, to get it on the show so that we can get them on the schedule. And we are pretty excited that now that we're starting to gain traction, we are able to like start getting out a little bit more, especially with like he's very good with the technical and he's able to get the podcast. He does all the technical stuff, and
Yeah.
I write the scripts and do the scheduling, and then I'm able to use my networking to get other guests. And a lot of times it's right from the Dungeon Scribe because we have so many people.
Yeah.
I usually now just join the chat. I'm like, hey man, this is our topic. Who wants to join? And people are like, oh yeah, so that we have to kind of like see who's been on the show, or kind of so we can make it fair. And and then or now now that I'm I kind of just blast it online and be like, hey, our new episode's coming out, and people will hit me up on the side on the messages and be like, hey, how can I become? I'm like, well, mostly it's from our group, but now I can't really just keep letting people
Yeah.
into the Dungeon Scribe constantly. So I'm like, okay, well, let's start working on some other things. But we discuss a lot of things on there. Like I can't even uh, really put it in a list or put it in like a niche to kind of like tell you because we talk everything. We went from a series. We started a series that we kind of had to put to the side of world building. We had like six, I think, different creators from around the world
Oh,
come on,
yeah.
and we started building a world, and that was crazy. And so we kind of put that to the side because it started getting really big. We couldn't keep up with it. But
Well,
we're trying to come back to it.
if you got another
Uh,
spot for that one, go ahead and let me in. I mean, hey, I'm right here.
Hey, we always like having guests on,
Yeah.
man. That's a huge thing, and we are definitely trying to reach out
Hmm.
and have the community a part of it, because what we want is to have. My goal was to build
Hmm.
Dungeon Scribe and then kind of branch out because we're independent creators, and to help them, give them more exposure and give them a bigger platform, and give them the spotlight. So I told Rob, I was like, man, let's use side quest for that, man. Let's do that as well. We can have Dungeon Scribe and do that, but also we have side quest as well, and that will actually help us have new content for the show, so we don't have to work too hard, and I don't have to write a new script every week,
Yeah.
for us. But on top of that, we have a guest that they're already doing something, and we can just go off of that and give them their 10 seconds of fame, and we can
Helps a lot.
help them. Yeah, we can help them get out there. And that's the same thing that we have going on with the Dungeon Scribe right now. We have the newsletter that's
Mhm.
about to pop off. Uh, so this Friday, um, the first issue of our monthly newsletter that we'll have, and it's going to be just content of just the industry
Mhm.
itself, and different artists and different creators, and how you can find them, and what's going on, what type of Kickstarters and stuff like that. So it's able to kind of like give people a bigger view of what's going on, besides being flooded with like just random crap on
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter and everything. We
The
can have
haze.
yeah. You could, I mean, now you could just go to our Patreon.
Mhm.
I think I gave you the link.
You did, yeah.
So you can go to our Patreon and you can check it out, and then on top of that, you can have access to us. So if anybody would like to check out the Dungeon Scribe Society as a community and be a part of it, you can actually look at the PDF as well, if you don't want to join. And we can, it will definitely, there's a lot of stuff in there that I was very surprised about our community, because we put it in there. I actually interview Blake from the documentary. And that's going to be in the first issue. We have some more interviews, and we have some other content, and just a lot of good material, man. And like a lot of the people that are part of it, man, they work their butts off, man. I was kind of overseeing it, and kind of like just they're smarter than I am. I can
It's
say
like,
that.
okay, I think I've gone a little bit past where I'm able to do.
I tell them, I was like, I have no idea why you guys even like follow me. Like, well, you guys are amazing. Like, what am I doing?
Sometimes great people just need a really, really kind-hearted and amazing person to help them push that button,
I appreciate it, man. 'Cause it's like sometimes I doubt myself. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing right now.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that work with you and work, do a lot of stuff with you. So clearly, there's something there.
Yeah, yeah, I
So,
definitely appreciate them and you guys as a whole, man. It's great.
yeah.
It's awesome.
But all right, so there that's gonna be about it for us today. So I got one last question for you.
Mm.
You're an amazing content creator. You're an amazing world builder. Is there anything that you have to say to content creators who are struggling to push that button, or world builders who are struggling to write the module that they work so hard to create, but just are not there on that, that capability of putting pen to paper? What would you have to say to them?
I'd say, first first off, just read the stuff that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Read what you like. Don't try to make stuff for the masses or the public. Make something that you like. That was my hardest thing, to try to figure out what I wanted to do, and I just make stuff that you like, man. And read the modules that you enjoy. Like, I'm more of a dark, grim dark horror style, and I like that. I don't like the colorful new D&D. I like the
Yeah.
older dark, D&D, and that's what I like. And Stephen King said something that really, like, it triggered something, and like a light bulb. Stephen King said, someone asked him, like, hey, how do you write for the people? Like, how do you write and know what we like and everything? And they just kept asking him kind of the same question. He looked at it, he's like, I don't write for you. He's like, I don't care what the hell you think. He's like, I write for me. He's like, this is fun for me. He's like, when it stops being fun, then I stop. He's like, but he's like, I don't give a shit what you think. He's like, I write for myself. He's like, when I write and it makes me happy, that's it. And I publish it. He's like, I don't care if I make $1 or $1,000,000. He's like, as long as I'm happy and I write for myself, that's all that matters. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. So I tell that to my team on Chaotic Chronicles, and I tell that, tell it to other authors. I'm like, hey man, just write for yourself. Who cares what everybody else thinks? You're happy, and it's gonna look amazing when you have your name on a book, and it's gonna be on your own show. Like, that's the goal of mine, and that's,
Yeah.
like, now, I have that. So now it's like, I try to get other people to do the same thing, and that's just something that, you have to, take that step and forget about whatever everybody else says, and just, do that. And I think that is that's the biggest advice I can give you, is just, find out what you like and do that. It doesn't have to be 5e. It doesn't have to be Pathfinder. Create up something else,
Mm-hmm.
create, or go something. A lot of people like the Cthulhu, and some people don't even know what the hell that is, but but you create it, and I'll tell you what, if you like it, I bet you there's somebody else in the world that likes it, and then
Yep.
they're going to like that as well, and it's a big chain reaction right there.
Yeah. Well, it was amazing having you on, and I know there's so much more we could talk about, which means that we're gonna have to have you back.
Hey, I am down for that for sure. I love talking about this stuff all day. It's better than
yeah.
the business stuff I do.
Yeah, talk about the fun that is also
Yeah.
the work, but the fun.
Yeah, fun stuff is way more fun.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and make sure you check out all of his amazing things. All the links will be down in the description below, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
See you later.
Hey adventurers, thanks for tuning in. Remember to smash that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to give some love to your bards.